Friday, November the 18th, 2022, and I'm down in Surrey, the very northeastern corner, not far from the borders of Kent and Sussex. About time to take Country Walking Magazine's Oxted circular, around 9 miles today. A bit shorter because of the shorter days. Sunset now about 4 o'clock, walking till about 4:45. And as you can see, pretty decent day at the moment. However, within the next hour I'm expecting these clear blue skies, per the ever reliable Met Office, to change to, before I was interrupted, I'm expecting cloud this afternoon. The weather forecast down here for today has changed a number of times in the last 12 hours. But anyway, no rain, that's the main thing. Now, as you will note, almost next to the station is a Morrison's there. I actually meant a Wetherspoons, because the Morrison's is just over there next to the leisure pool. I have walked around here previously, but I think today is new terrain from what I can see. So let's crack on, see what awaits. Right, so at the moment we've got about 12-13 degrees. Bit of a breeze, which may come across on commentary later. And I'm about to embark this walk in an, clockwise direction, which I believe is counter to the minimal instructions that come with this walk. So let's see how we go. 11:45ish now. Should be done by the fall of night. Lots of bars and restaurants around the station, and Tudor type buildings. Little snippet here of the surrounding countryside on my right. We today utilised both the Greensand Way and the North Downs Way. So having crossed a busy A road behind me, next to this West Hill sign, descend down this footpath. The busy road being East Hill. Crossing over Woodhurst Bridge. No footpath marker here, but after the bridge that I just filmed, you'll see this property little doik, and I believe the footpath is ahead of me there. Not only are there no footpath markers, but the maintenance of this bridge is pretty questionable as well. First one of the morning, just on the other side of the footbridge. Walking across a section of open land towards Oxted Mill ahead of me there. So, first footpath marker today. I'm following the GMT trail amongst others. And here is the former mill, which looks like it's now flats. With their view across the former mill pond, I presume. And confirmation there that I have been walking the Greensand Way, and our onward journey is almost going back on ourselves on the other bank. Reaching the Old Bell pub, another sort of Tudor looking building, where we take the road down the side of it there. Chef and brewer. Now aiming for Townland Pond and the Mount, which is probably ahead of me there on the map. Well, sun's still out, interestingly. Wonder if the weather forecast has changed yet again. I think that must be the pond over there just behind me. Very good of Surrey Council. Now passing Barrow Green Farmhouse on the map. That's a bit OTT though. What do you expect on a country walk? So I don't understand the Ramblers currently want to launch a survey into all the path surfaces of the country. I mean, what's the point? I mean, where they're heavily rutted by either 4x4s or horses, that's a different point. And likewise where they're flooded. But you could report that on a handheld app, as I've pointed out to them. So as we just leave Robins Grove Wood on the map, with its guard dogs and razor wire, we're about to cross over the busy M25, which according to the walk notes is quite audible throughout this walk. Let's see. There you go. 8 lanes wide here, 4 in each direction, with no service lane. Not much of a central crash barrier either. Pretty bad removing the old service lanes, I think. Still, I don't use them, so not my concern. Hate motorways. Decent vista on my right as I ascend towards Tandridge Hill on the map. And the creation of the M25 obviously has kind of decimated this place, cutting through an AOMB. Walking along the base of Gangers Hill here, which we'll be walking along later. This is a figure of 8 walk today, so as I ascend here there will be a bit of mini duplication later on. A beech tree down here, lots of yew and hornbeam and beech. Decent vista here. Down towards the South Downs, I guess, in the far distance. Still hear the hum of the M25 though, as predicted. So that is where we'll be coming from later on the North Downs Way, as shown on this finger post. But for now we're continuing on the North Downs Way for a little stretch in the opposite direction. And I notice we're also on the Woldingham countryside walk, and in the distance there the M25. Now it's interesting that the ex-chief executive of the Scouts is now the CEO at the Ramblers, but he doesn't appear to have learnt anything from the Scouts, because I haven't had a response to my email yet, Ross Maloney. So there's a seat here with a fantastic view, if you like looking at the M25. Downlands Countryside Management Project. Somebody's nicked the disc that went with it. There's also an information panel here pointing out some of the viewpoints. For example, Oxted Downs to my left, M25 Toys Hill, Limpsfield Common, all the way down to the South Downs on my right. Final view. There is apparently, according to the map, a car park somewhere around about here, which is probably why this viewpoint's been put here. There's no church on this walk today, so I'm hoping to find a similar viewpoint later on, or a seat or something similar for my lunch. So at this juncture we leave the North Downs Way for now. As I said, we will be returning to this point later, but we now continue up those steps there, left, crossing a minor road, and we have reached that car park. I have walked this previously, but this sign wasn't here then, because obviously the Platinum Jubilee occurred after I was last here, presumably. We're now entering Marden Park. And I'd guess I was doing a Woldingham walk. That's 2 miles away from here. So I'm heading towards Great Church Wood. Slight descent here, past this information panel, giving us information about Marden Park, which has, interestingly, dormouse. Which will be tucked up hibernating now, I'd imagine. According to the map, there are some air shafts somewhere down on my left here. The old railway line clearly goes underneath this hill. Good old Victorians. Here's some of the Ash Dieback works that they referred to in the car park. Hope they're going to be replaced with an appropriate gene that's resistant to the disease, of which we now know there are varieties. Decent walking surfaces in here. It is amazing really how quickly the leaves have disappeared. Not that many autumn colours left now. Beech, one of them though. Now interestingly, there's a seat, and the other one ahead of me is occupied. So this was where I was planning to take my lunch, so I might grab it. Decent enough vista. No, it's too early. I'm only 3.5 miles into the walk, so I'll continue. So as I descend, 634 feet now. High point today was mid 700s, can't remember the exact figure, but I wouldn't put it past that car park marking the high point of today's walking. But we will be back near there later, so let's see. Lovely afternoon now, and lo and behold, the weather forecast has changed again. I've just checked, so we're now getting sunny intervals this afternoon and not cloud, which is all the better. So good old reliable Met Office gets it wrong again. Yes, and I do remember walking past this previously. I don't know what it is, but I came from that direction. So almost certainly a Woldingham walk, seeing as the station now is only a mile away. And I've just come from that direction. And I do believe I'm now headed down here, left. I do believe there's a private school behind all these trees. Certainly shown on the map as that anyway. And that would make sense. Woldingham School, which even has its own cemetery. With these unusual plain black metal crosses. And there's the inscription of one of them. Sacred Heart. Maybe they're students that have died during the course of their education, I don't know. Maybe someone else does. Now last time I was down this way, I went up that hill through a field of cattle there. But today the GPX track takes us right along that driveway over there towards Winder's Hill on the map. What chance have you got against a tie and a crest? Quote Paul Weller. So at the end of the school drive, where I was talking to the French teacher actually, en français, it transpires I do a left here, not straight on, and there will be a seat by all accounts on top of the hill, which will be handy. Winder's Hill. So fingers crossed, as it greys over and gets a bit breezier now. So at this finger post here, past this ivy, not down that way. So this is the viewpoint from Winder's Hill, which is about 5 miles in, and perfectly positioned for my lunch. 2 benches behind me, one occupied. So here we go. 1:45-ish. Lunch is served. 2:15. Lunch has been had, and I do believe that is Tyler's Green I'm looking over there. Had a quick look at the map over lunch. You can still hear the hum of the M25 from up here. Sun is still shining, as you can see. And there's the South Downs in the distance. Right, about another 5 to go. And it's now pretty much a case of ascending this hill along the North Downs Way. And this may be the high point of the walk, we'll soon find out. So there you can see plenty of Ash Dieback operations. Not much in the way of bird song today, but there's a little wren over there that's obviously caught sight of me. Big song for a small bird. Apparently it's got one of the loudest voices in the bird world for its size. Little Jenny wren, eh? So there's one of the bits of kit used to pull down the ash. Just talking to a local chap about the possible reinstatement of these ash. He wasn't aware of any plan, but They certainly should reinstate it. Big loss. Because of the logging operations and the vehicles on this greensand, it's very muddy on this section, particularly after the heavy rain yesterday. Very pleasant section of walking here through gnarled trees. Don't know what they are. Lovely. But the hum of the M25 on my right is persistent. Yeah, so it's the Woodland Trust that are doing those works. Inevitably they will replace the ash, I'm pretty sure. Interesting, a bee craft place up there. As we continue straight on. So this woodland on my left is actually hanging wood per the map, and I'm about now to join a lane here which we follow leftwards up towards the point I mentioned earlier this morning, Ganger's Wood. Well, in fact we go through this kissing gate and walk up alongside the lane, which is even better. Another bird that is still out and about is the parakeet. Quite amazing really. A, they're down this far, and B, they're surviving these cold temperatures. And there he is. Eating something up there. In fact, there's a pair of them. And they're probably eating beech nuts, seeing as it's a beech tree, because they do like them. Well, in fact, it's not a beech tree, it's an oak. So I can't imagine what they've got up there, other than the odd acorn, maybe. And a large hawk has just taken off. Couldn't get it on camera, but probably a buzzard. Unlikely to be a goshawk. Too big, so that's why my feeling is towards a buzzard. So this is Ganger's Hill on the map. Pretty busy section of road here. It is going home time again. 3:30. But yeah, Ganger's Hill, which I was below earlier today. So here we are back at the 3-iron finger post I was at this morning, having come from that direction. So a short section of duplication. So there's the steps I went up. We now do a right here. A flight of steps going down, which I have walked previously, so this is not new walking. And I do remember an information panel here at this viewpoint, which looks like it's been broken, kicked into touch. As you can see there, we are above the railway line here. Those air tunnels I mentioned earlier go right underneath us here. And the hum of the M25 becomes more prominent now, and we will get right close to it soon, I do recall. Steps have been replaced not too long ago by the looks of things. And this section of walking here is on a very narrow path with a steep edge on one side. Former quarry in the distance there. Decent views back whence I've come. As you can see, it's getting a bit twilightish at the moment. It's only 3 o'clock yet. Today's death, a poor monkjack. Not sure what's happened to that. Looks like he's got caught up in the wires. Rest in peace, mate. Views back whence I've come. As we get very close to the M25. There's a very dicey 100 yards or so of road walking here. Very busy bit of road with no pavements. So we now enter the Trust's Oxted Downs even. So as you can see, Kent border 3 mile, Godstone 3.5. And we're stood next to beech plantation here on the map now. Not many beech left, mind you. And a seat there for those that want a respite. Hum of the M25 is amazing, even, what, half a mile away. And there is the risk of not having a hard shoulder. Lorry's broke down over there, look. No hard shoulder for it. I've put sand down for some reason. Stop the diesel spreading, I guess. Very dicey. Views back along beech plantation. And whence I've come earlier. Now join the Vanguard Way and the Greenwich Meridian trail, as you can see here. So we come off the North Downs Way at this juncture, taking the path to my right towards the M25 with a view to crossing it shortly thereafter. Walking through this copse, almost next to the M25 now. Seems you could equally have walked along the field edge actually. There are a few brambles the way I came, which is the original route. And now here's the footbridge over the M25. And I must say, I'm surprised how low the barrier is. It's only about elbow height, i.e. easy to jump over and land in this very busy 8-lane motorway. Just saying, on the fringes of Oxted now. I wonder what that building is that dominates the skyline at Oxted. Very Gothic looking. The boarding school. Maybe some local resident will know, tell us. Views back towards the downs from the edge of Oxted as the dusk slowly starts to approach, and the expected gusts didn't appear this afternoon either. In fact, it's been a very still day generally. A little bit breezy this morning, but calmed down. So the weathermen got that wrong as well. Nice new kissing gate here of the style that I like. But it hasn't taken someone 5 minutes to bust the waymark sign. Can't remember the proper name for that. No, it'll come to me. There you go. A roundel. Yeah, bust already. So 4 o'clock, almost on the button. 9 miles, almost on the button. And 3 hours 36 later, and here we are back at the station, having done a pretty decent walk today. Lots of ups and downs. Classic North Downs walk really. Weather held out, pretty decent. So Country Walking Magazine's Oxted circular completed.
Oh yeah, I tried.
And the old foot's not too bad either. So, all's well. Till the next time.
Excuse me, mate.